Okay. So it wasn't like I had never been around an older boy before, so I don't think the infatuation was that. There was just there was a connection. I literally just was completely infatuated with him. He definitely did have a style that was unique, and, at the time this would have been like the mid 90s, and so, he kind of had the Grateful Dead kind of hippie vibe going on, which, and he was attractive and things like that, but it was still just more than that. So I met him, and he didn't really say anything or do anything. We didn't really like spend hours talking or anything. It was literally just like a interaction of our energies. Just, I knew there was something about this person. So before we get into everything, I just want you to know, I have like so much documentation, pictures, all kinds of things that I'm going to share with you guys. But one of the coolest things that I have is my journal. And I got this journal when I was 8 years old, when I got baptized into the Mormon church. And so I pretty much have little tidbits here and there written in here from the time I was 8. And then, throughout high school and stuff here. Let me show you. So, my handwriting and spelling is atrocious, but I'm able to decipher. So I've literally got in here an entry from the night that I met him, and I'd come home probably drunk, probably pretty late in the night. And I'm not going to get into all the details right off these original videos. This is just kind of to introduce you guys to the story. And then if I get people who are interested, I will go into more in-depth videos with all of the, I can read the journal entries, and we'll go into some pictures and things like that. But basically I wrote down in my journal that I was going to marry this man and I was going to have his kids. And I was 14 years old. So, yeah, it was definitely, fate, I would say. So turns out that Nate didn't really, he was like that cool guy who couldn't be bothered with girls. He never asked girls out on dates. He had girlfriends, but he never was the one who pursued anybody. He was always being the one who was chased. And he had just broken up with a girlfriend. Even though he was only a senior in high school, he was dropped out. The high school that we went to was horrendous. They had I think the year that they graduated, which was 93, they had like a 50 or 60% graduation rate. So literally almost half of their class did not graduate. So yes, we partied and stuff, but we were still good kids. Like in this area, you didn't have to be like a bad kid to be partying or dropped out of high school. I know that sounds horrible. It's just the way that it was. So anyway, he had just broke up with this girl that he'd been living with. I didn't know that at the time. I just know that now. So anyway, this was like right when school was starting. So this is like the September through December months of that year, which was 92, because he would have been graduating in the summer of 93, because he was the class of 93. So this would have been the fall and winter months of 1992. So I ended up getting in kind of good with this group that he was friends with, not because of him. He wasn't inviting me, but his other friends were inviting me to the parties and stuff. So I would see him on weekends, and I was just absolutely infatuated with him, but he just did not give a shit. He could care less about me. Probably thought I was a baby, whatever. So there were some dances coming up, and God, I really wanted to go. And I was a very insecure girl. And I mean, what girls aren't? But looking back at who I was, and I was a beautiful girl. I mean, I'm not trying to sound conceited. Just as coming into my womanness now, I can look back and think, you idiot, I mean, everybody's got their beauty, but I was so insecure. So anyway, I just wanted him to ask me to dance, and he wasn't. Well, I had a friend, And she knew that I was obsessed. Everybody knew I was obsessed with him. I wrote his name all over my notebooks and class and wrote his name. I literally carved his name in my ankle with a razor blade. I mean, I was obsessed. Well, my frenemy, decides that she's going to ask Nate to go to the Christmas dance. This has been a couple of months. We've been partying. We've been seeing each other in house parties. I did make out with him one night, which just made the obsession even more. And, but that was it. He was still pretty much ignoring me. So my friend, she had an older sister also that was in the same grade as Nate, who was a senior. Well, her sister wanted her little sister to go to the dance with them, and her older sister was dating one of Nate's really good friends. So she talks my friend into asking Nate to the Christmas dance, and he says yes. So I'm just absolutely furious. I decide that I need to ask somebody to go to the dance as well so that I can be there, basically stalk him. So I had asked a guy that I had been friends with from the previous city that I had lived in. And he said yes, so we went, and basically I end up going up to Nate in the middle of the Christmas dance and just crying, just like, what are you doing? I can't believe you're here with her. You know that I like you. And he's just like, I didn't even care. You know, I'm not here with her because I want to be. He's like, go ditch your date and you can come home with me. So I was like, yeah, okay. So I literally went and told my poor date that I already had a ride home from the dance, which was a really, bitchy thing to do. So he left. Nate tells his date that she needs to ride home with her sister and takes me home after the dance. So, also I forgot to say that one of my best friends at the time, Shannon, you know who you are, she was dating Nate's best friend. So she had a stake in this too, that she had wanted Nate and I together because then that way it'd make it easier for her and her boyfriend if, me and Nate were dating. So I go home with Nate. We go to Shannon's boyfriend's house and we're drinking, we're hanging out. Well, Shannon's mom was a truck driver and she was out of town. So Shannon's house was basically available. So we decided we get kicked out of Shannon's boyfriend's house because we're being rowdy and I think his parents found out we're drinking. So we get kicked out of there and we basically go over to Shannon's house. Well, Shannon and her boyfriend had already been, sexually active and things like that for a while. So they kind of wanted their private time. I was a virgin, and I'd only made out with Nate once, but he was like, well, we can go to my house. So I was like, okay. So we get in his truck and drive out to his house, to his parents' house, who were to be my future in-laws. He sneaks me into his house. It's probably like 1 a.m. by now. Sneaks me downstairs into his bedroom. I swear to God, he had a waterbed. I can't remember. Anyway, he proceeds to basically seduce me, whatever. And of course, I was young, so I really wasn't ready. But he pulled the whole, if you love me, you will, and type stuff. So I end up consenting to have sex for the first time with him. And he's shushing me because he doesn't want to get caught because his parents are home. So it was just really an awkward situation. But basically, I really truly believe that he loves me and he wouldn't be doing this if he didn't. And if I love him, I need to do this so that he knows that I love him. So I basically give up my virginity. We wake up the next morning pretty early because he has to sneak me back out of the house to take me home. Drives me back to my house. I go to get out of the car to go lean over and give him a kiss. And he's just like, bye. Like, bye, bitch. Basically just kicked me to the curb. So right then and there, I was literally just devastated. My video is probably going to get ready to run out again, so I'm going to stop this at a good part. He kicks me out of the car, and basically that's it. And I go back to school on Monday, and basically the whole school knows that we've had sex, and girls are calling me a slut and this and that. So it was completely devastating. I was completely heartbroken. And I'm going to pick up this story in the next video. See you in a minute.